What's up, 21st century people? My name is Daniel Webster, a really important figure in American history, and today I'm going to explain exactly why you should vote me for Hall of Fame. This is a picture of me as a young fella, solid looking dude, defined jawline. During my years as the best ever politician, I was a lawyer and congressman, served as both the House of Representatives and Secretary of Massachusetts, the Secretary of State, and in the Senate. I fought for the preservation of the Union, defended the government during the nullification crisis, and won big Supreme Court cases that increased the power of the federal government. My motto was that if I could maintain a strong central government, then that would ensure larger trade and business with the U.S.
For starters, while dealing with the Dartmouth College versus Woodward, I helped with the landmark decision from the Supreme Court dealing with the application of the Contracts Clause. It signaled the disestablishment of church and state in New Hampshire. It declared that a state cannot interfere with the contract between two private parties. It limited power to the states with the commercial enterprises as well.
You've probably heard of McCulloch versus Maryland before. Guess who won that case? I did. The Congress placed a federal bank in Maryland, and Maryland refuted the idea and placed a tax on all federal banks established on its territory. James McCulloch, the officer of the Federal Bank of the United States, refused to pay the tax. Maryland claimed that the establishment of the bank was unconstitutional, and I defended McCulloch's decision to establish the bank by saying how the bank was necessary to carry out taxes according to the necessary and proper clause, and how taxing the bank was against the supremacy clause. For the court case of Gibbon versus Ogden, these two guys used to share a franchise to use steamboats in New York, but after Ogden quit, Gibbons continued using it, and this angered Ogden. Ogden requested the state of court of New York to remove his boats, and the court agreed. I cited as Gibbons' lawyer, arguing that the Congress has the power to regulate commerce over state borders, not the state legislators, because of the Commerce Clause of the Constitution and the Supremacy Clause. The Supreme Court favored my argument that the Congress's power overruled New York's power. The Tariff of 1828 raised the tariff of imported goods, which helped the North's economy, but didn't benefit the South. The South's opposition to these new taxes on materials led to the nullification crisis. My opponent, the Senator of South Carolina, Robert Hayne, believed that the states had the right to nullify federal laws because they made up the government. I responded with the Webster's second reply to Hayne's speech, in which I defended a strong central government by saying that the federal law could not be nullified by an individual state because it represented all Americans. It was at this speech that I said the most famous words in U.S. history: liberty and union, now and forever one and inseparable, which would be later echoed in Lincoln's first inaugural address. I later formed a Whig party alongside Henry Clay in opposition to Jackson's democracy. I decided to separate because I opposed Jackson's pro-slavery and lack of banking institutions for business. As Secretary of State under John Tyler, I met with Lord Ashburton and came up with an agreement to settle the Canada and U.S. border between Lake Superior and Lake of Woods, and the Western Territory along the 49th parallel. This treaty improved relations with the British by ending a major dispute over the U.S. and Britain borders. While in the Senate, largely because of my eloquent speechifying skills shown in speeches like Webster's second reply to Hayne, I became known as part of the Great Triumvirate, alongside Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun. I personally opposed slavery as a Northerner, but when it came to the Compromise of 1850, I wanted to see all standpoints to please the South. I stated my opinion in a very influential speech called the 7th of March speech, in which I urged people to compromise to the issues of slavery for the sake of keeping the Union together. I tried to prevent Southerners from proceeding with secession by explaining that it would lead to conflict. But hey, what can I say? People love me. A witness said that I had luminous eyes and solemn majesty.
Oh my God! Wow!
To wrap it up, you should vote for me, Daniel Webster, because my arguments, such as the landmark Supreme Court cases and my speeches during the nullification crisis and the compromise debates, as well as my negotiations, such as the Webster-Ashburton Treaty, are what allowed America to have a powerful government and strong trade connections. Plus, I'm watching you. If you don't vote for me, I will find you.